Moms, dads, buds, and lads. It's your man Trent, and this is FC. Welcome back to another edition. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, especially if this content resonates with you and you like it, go ahead. Don't forget to click that bell icon so you're notified when I come out with a brand new video. Thanks. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into this week's edition, part 2 of Dad Advice. Advice worth sharing with our kids. Let's go. It is January 7th. I had to check my watch just to make sure. 2024. This is the first video of 2024. And this year is going to be a good year. I need you to say it's going to be a good year, because we're only going to get from it what we put into it. Of course, that's an old adage, but you know what I'm saying. So let's do this year right, and let's learn some things and jump right into, of course, today's video. So today, guys, I'm going to speak from my heart. This specific piece of dad advice I wish was told to me as a young kid, simply because as I grew older, I just didn't know how to express this piece of wisdom. And it got me in some very awkward situations, but it also strained me a little bit because I didn't know exactly how to do this. And I thought if I did this very thing, that somehow I would be letting people down. The older that I get, the more I realize how sacred and wonderful and binding this practice is, this piece of advice. And I believe it's something that our kids would benefit from. They learn what it means to create separation from them and the very thing or person that is requesting something from them. Today's piece of advice is this: teach your kids that no is a full sentence. Teach them to flex their no muscle. It's very important at a young age that our kids learn the importance of saying no, or flexing that no muscle, or knowing that they don't have to explain themselves out of a situation, that no is enough and no is to be accepted. No really does create boundaries. It really separates you from another individual, or what they're asking, what their expectations are. And when our kids at such a young age learn to say no, it's so empowering. They learn to say no when it comes to their boundaries. They may have had a hectic week at school and they want to stay home and relax. And they very well may need to say no in a situation where they can stay home with their family in a familiar situation, kind of decompress and just feel at home. The last thing they want to do is to do anything. They might just want to be with the people that know them best and accept them for who they are. Flexing that no muscle, or saying no, I don't want to go out, or no, I don't want to go there, no, I don't want to do that. It really is their choice. And when they understand how important that choice is, it really liberates them to feel comfortable with their decision. Maybe a friend may ask them, hey, do you want to go to a hockey game, or do you want to go to a dance, or you want to go to a party? It's really important that our kids, that they feel comfortable to say no. If they don't want to do it, they should not feel obligated to do it. That speaks volumes, because it really liberates them from obligation. Just recently, I know one of our kids came to us and shared an experience with us, which I won't get into, but you'll have to take my word for it. They basically shared about a personal boundary that was violated and how they didn't want that violated. And personally, they said they were uncomfortable and expressed that they didn't want that to happen again. So we encouraged them to actually say no. Like, don't be afraid to open your mouth and say no. That's not one of my values. That's not something, a standard of mine. I don't express that, or I don't think that way. When parents step up to the plate and actually reiterate to our kids what they're feeling and validate them, well, then it creates a sense of calmness and collectiveness in them that they made the right decision, and it's cool for them to actually say no and allow the chips fall where they may. See, the last thing our kids ever want to feel is a sense of duty when someone asks something of them and they don't want to do it, or they feel uncomfortable doing it, to feel obligated to do it, and then as a result feel like they are somebody selling out. And we don't want that, right? And you don't want that for your kids. So I would strongly encourage you to teach your kids to say no. And that could be from the extreme of drugs or drinking to, you know what, I don't want to go to that party, or I don't want to watch that movie. It kind of spans the extreme and the subtle. But in all that, your kids have to feel like their decision is their own. It helps them understand who they are, understand what it is they like and don't like, and of course brings kind of a peace and a sense of ownership to their own lives. Our kids are dealing with an insurmountable amount of pressure in this 21st century, from social media, from the sense of becoming popular and having the most views, and whether they should have social media accounts. And all that pressure comes from social media, and also comes from friends. Hey, why don't you start a TikTok account? Why don't you start a YouTube channel? But all of these things are not necessary to live a full, productive life. And if they don't want to do it, they don't have to do it. They don't have to fall in line with the crowd, lose themselves while pleasing others. That is an absolute no-no, and we should help them veer away from that to autonomy, oneness, a sense of I'm apart from everybody else. I don't need to go along with the crowd. Time for a sip of coffee. Oh, this coffee is just hitting right this morning. Woo! Yes. I want to share a personal story from my own experience, and then we'll just end the video, send you on your way to enjoy your Sunday. I remember way back when, I was only maybe 12, 13 years old, and back then, adults, our neighbors, would ask us to do different things. And I remember this one specific neighbor. My friend and I were delivering newspapers to this individual, and they didn't want to leave their house, so they asked me and my friend, we were on bikes delivering newspapers, and this grown man, maybe in his 60s, asked us if we would go to the corner store to get him a pack of cigarettes. Because I was never taught to say no and to honor adults, respect adults, if they ask you, make sure you fulfill their request. These are the things that I grew up thinking were what you had to do. So me and my buddy, we took the cash from the guy's hand, and we proceeded to go down to the corner store to get him cigarettes. Halfway to the store, I had this gut feeling like, I don't want to do this. This is not comfortable. If my mom and dad found out about this, they'd be upset. So in that moment, I decided, no, I'm not doing this. My friend, on the other hand, he started to cry, and he got on his bike, and he ripped it out of there. He took off home, and he was so uncomfortable, but he didn't know how to say no. But in that moment, I learned to say no, and I rode back on my bike to that house. I took the money, found a rock, put the money on the ground in front of the door, put the rock on top of the money, and I scooted out of there. And I learned that I didn't need to explain. I brought the money back, put it on under a rock by his door where he would see it, and I scooted off home. Why? I flexed my no muscle. I knew it was wrong. I knew it was uncomfortable, and therefore it felt good to deny that person's request and hold to my standards and my values and convictions. So parents, I don't know what it is your kids are facing today. I don't know what requests they're getting or the demands that are on them, but do them a favor and teach them, sit them down, and have a conversation of what it means for them to say no and in what context. When they realize that they are empowered to say no and that they're allowed to say no, it will equip them. It will help them navigate situations that are difficult and tough. And when they do, they'll find themselves in a very confident position knowing what is right, what is wrong, what's their standard and value versus what is not. Okay, guys, that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Again, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, ring that bell buttons, and be sure to come back next week. Join me for another video. Like I always say, stay focused, stay safe. I'll catch you on the flippity. See ya.